Hi, everybody. This is Chris.
And this is Matt.
And this, after a long delay, sorry, everyone, is Stunt Island.
Yeah, we took an unofficial break for vacations and summer stuff, and
Various reasons,
we're
yes.
finally back.
Yeah.
And we're doing it. We're doing Stunt Island, which was a request that I made because I
Yes.
loved this game when I was a kid because I wanted to be a stunt pilot.
And who didn't, really?
Right. There's like nothing cooler that you could be, except
So,
possibly a race car driver, which I also wanted to be.
I feel like the thing I wanted to be growing up was a snake depoisoner. The guys who collect venom for anti-venom.
Sure.
Like, when I was a little kid, I'm like, that's the coolest job in the world. You're like grabbing poisonous snakes and making them do what you want.
Wow, yeah. I mean that's not one you hear often, but I
No.
totally get it. Like
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. Anyway,
You
so
make
this
them
is
like bite in the pantyhose over
yeah.
a mason jar and like
Mm-hmm.
milk them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard pass for me, but good on you.
Yeah, eventually it became a hard pass for me. But
Yeah.
the thing, this is not a review.
No, no, no.
Never a review. We don't review here. We have played this game for a month, on and off,
Yes.
and we're going to come back and talk about our experience playing it over the last month.
Yeah. Our
Okay.
feelings,
Yeah.
our
Emotions.
impressions. Yeah.
And if it leads us to some other thoughts on other things, that might be a thing too. Now, I know it came out in 1992. Came out from Walt Disney.
Which is interesting because you do not think of Disney as a video game publisher,
No.
but they did release a few DOS games. They released Rocketeer, which I
Mm-hmm.
have never looked at,
Yep.
Arachnophobia,
I
which,
never
as you
I didn't know
recall,
that.
is a
Was a movie.
spider film with what's his name?
John Goodman.
John Goodman, right? And I'm curious about looking at that. And then they released The Chase to Tom Sawyer's Island, which I looked at prior to this. It looks terrible. I'm really into it. Looks like a child drew it. Like I'm really into how ugly The Chase to Tom Sawyer's Island is. And how do you chase to a destination?
I don't know. I feel like you just get there and wait.
Right. Is it really the chase? The
More
chase
of
to
a
Tom
race,
Sawyer's?
really.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was 1988. I guess people didn't know the difference.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's like, of course, Disney has released a ton of other video games, but
Mickey
like in
Mouse
this
is everywhere,
era,
yeah.
yeah, on DOS, they did some, Disney Animation Studio kind of
They
stuff.
had a Flash game that I'm going to say words to you, and you're going to be like, what? It was fun as hell. It's Winnie the Pooh's Home Run Derby.
Okay. I get it.
And Winnie the Pooh was at bat against different characters from there. Each had a different way of pitching the ball, and you had to time hitting the space bar. It's a stupid little Flash game from the Flash era, but man, I had a blast with that. And I can't figure out why. First off, it's tough as nails. It was a genuinely hard game. It wasn't for kids, but it was Winnie the Pooh, so there's just this weird. Anyway.
You start feeling Tigger, but you end feeling Eeyore.
Pretty much.
It's so hard. I noticed in at the beginning of this game you can choose your name, and I noticed that you chose the name Raven,
Yes.
and you didn't choose the best name, which is Porkins.
Well,
Porkins is a name option. They're all like vampire, pawnbroker,
Yeah.
Raven, and then they hit you with Porkins.
Yeah.
Which is, as you know, is probably a reference to Jack Porkins from Star Wars.
yes.
Which is odd because eventually Disney came to acquire
Right.
Star Wars. It's premonition.
Mm-hmm. Well, wasn't this... I, for some reason, thought Spielberg was involved in this, but I'm not seeing any information to that end.
Yeah, this was
Not that I mean Lucas was, but Spielberg and Lucas were kind of buddies. So
yeah, right, right. This was I don't know, produced by or something by or developed by. I thought Adrian, what's his name, was the developer, but Ron Fortier,
40 year, yeah.
Fortier,
I got two designers here on my notes, which are Adrian Steffens and
right.
Ronald Fortier. Fortier.
Yes,
I'm sorry, Ronald.
and
You're probably
yeah,
dead
like
Matt.
please, no one tell Ron to watch this because
We've just
his last
slaughtered
name
his
is
name
not that
in
hard.
multiple ways.
Yep, and we've both fucked it up now.
And he's
So
like, yeah, I know how it's spelled, but it's pronounced Smith.
it might be a good choice at this point
Yeah.
for Ron. But anyway, he programmed Zaxxon
Oh,
and two of our DataSoft favorites, Conan and
okay.
Bruce Lee.
Nice.
So full circle, like
Yeah.
we have experienced his work before.
All right. And
I
what
haven't
did-
really. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go.
I was going to say I haven't played any. And the company that made this was the Assembly Line,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't played any of their other games. They did Pipe Dream or Pipe Mania. I never
Okay.
played that. Helter Skelter, Xenon 2 Mega Blast, which sounds rad.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds cool as hell.
Right.
Interphase.
Okay.
I mean, these are all names.
I love
clearly-
the names.
Yeah,
Never heard of any of the games, which is concerning, but
drawn out of like a hat
Yeah.
of 1980s and 90s video game names. It's like Xenon 2
need some
Mega
X's.
Blast. Like,
Yep.
okay, let's do it. Let's make it. So that's pretty much history on this. You know,
Yeah. All right. So that's the history. How did you like it? I mean, this was your choice. Going back to it, sometimes the rose-colored glasses fade just ever so slightly.
Mhm.
Did you feel like you had that memory? Did it bring you back? Did you like it?
I still really enjoyed Stunt Island. Uh, I feel like it's a really creative flight sim, but like one of the things that I remembered about it that I really loved when I played it was that there were so many different aircraft that you could fly.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that coming back, like I lost some of that feeling because they all feel kind of the same. I mean, some are obviously going to be faster. The
Right.
UI is different, but like the flight controls are really almost arcadey. They're like really precise, and there's not a lot of variety. And like probably the best example is there's a mission where you play as a duck, and you
I
have to
didn't see
shit
that
out
one.
eggs onto a cop car, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like that was a fun mission to do, but the duck has rudder, and I've never been a duck,
pretty
but
sure you
I'm
don't
pretty
have
sure
rudder.
that the ducks do not have rudder. Like, and like a duck is not appreciably different than flying a hang glider or you know, a Zero or whatever.
Yeah.
So like that was a little disappointing because I lost some of the thrill of like, you know, hopping in a new plane and like experiencing something different.
Right.
But I really like the format. So you can go to the stunt coordinator and there's like pre-built stunts and there's like 32 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have a lot of fun just doing that.
Yeah.
They're like bite-sized.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of do them, and then if you want, you can do the editing, which is what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Or you can just let the game edit it
Yeah.
and go into the theater and watch it, and everyone claps, and you know, and that's that. What did you think of it?
I didn't give a shit.
You just didn't care.
Just didn't care. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I didn't like it. I just every time I booted it up this month, I'm like, I don't care. Like there was nothing in it that pulled me in. There's some interesting choices in how it's designed I want to talk about, but in terms of just Will I ever go back to Stunt Island? No.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know, and it's not that it did anything badly. It's not something I'm going to spend the next hour beating up on. But I'm also, I don't know. I don't care. I don't.
There's so much that you can do in this game. Like you can fly the missions, you can edit, you can make your own missions, but it's all a little bit esoteric. Like to design your own stunt is quite a process, and it's
Right.
like not easy. And when I was a kid, I did it because
Yeah.
I thought this was the coolest shit. But like going back, oftentimes I find like the stunt coordinator will give you imperfect information, and that's really frustrating. And one of the ways you get around that is popping open the uh, set design for the stunt that you're going to do
Yeah.
and looking at like, okay, this is where the thing is, and like these are the events, and you kind of like reverse engineer the stunts to like figure out maybe why you're missing something or what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, like I had a real
Um,
hard time with the Alcatraz Island stunt, where you're supposed to pick a guy up off one of the towers. I
mhm.
could never see him on the tower.
Were you going to the castle instead? That's the first one that I opened up in the stunt
Oh,
thing because I
maybe I
was.
was.
You have to fly to the right and you'll see a smaller building, but if you fly to the left, that's like a castle. And I had the exact same problem. I wasted many minutes flying over that castle looking for this asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And then I opened it in the set designer. I'm like, oh, like
It's over there.
it's over there. And maybe
And
but
this
like the
is
sun coordinator doesn't really tell you.
no.
He doesn't say turn to the right and
Right.
like you'll see Alcatraz.
Right. No, the directions towards this, like when we played TIE Fighter, it was like pulls up a map. Here's this, here's this, here's this. You're gonna go this way. And I understand there's years difference between those two games, and TIE Fighter is, a masterpiece. Where this is like getting started with it. So I can't give this too much crap for a 1992 game. But I can say there were things like the stunt coordinator on one of the other missions was shoot down the planes following your planes without hitting your planes.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, but they were side by side flying in the same spot. So I'm like, I don't know who's following who.
And that's part of the problem with this. And I know it's 1992, and like this engine, I think, is pretty good for how
For
much
that,
stuff
yeah.
it renders at once on the screen. But like when you have to like do some of these stunts and there's no texture on the ground, you really are flying by your altimeter because you just can't tell. And like with that one, especially, you have to like come in high and like look down to see who's in the front, and they're going so slow.
Right, I was going to say, they
Yeah.
got you coming in hot. Like, you were coming in with the throttle pegged. And I also think part of what worked against this game for me is I never got any of my sticks working.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a bummer. I did get my stick working.
Because
What?
doing it with keyboard was the only way I could actually kind of make it work.
That sucks.
And what would happen is, like, I'd start banking left, and I'm like, okay, I need to start coming out of this bank, and I'd hit right. But it wouldn't trigger right away, and so I'd overshoot and then have to overcorrect, and it was just this constant overcorrection until I lost speed and crashed.
Yeah.
Because it's an arcadey flight sim, but there's still some sim in there.
Right. Yeah, one of the things that was interesting about the stick was that to do rudder, and I think there were other games like this, you hold the second button and turn the stick, and that acts as your rudder.
Right.
So, like, when you're doing a bank, you're like manipulating the rudder, you're kind of just holding a bank.
Right.
And sometimes you end up like if you're not hitting the button all the way, you can do all kinds of stuff that you didn't mean to do. That can be a little
Right.
frustrating. Yeah.
So yeah, I was gonna say, if you're gonna come into this game, take the time to figure out your joystick, get it working, and you know, expect you're gonna put some time and effort into it. Did you have a hard time getting it set up? Like I just couldn't do it.
I tried two different joysticks, and the first one I couldn't get to calibrate right. Like it
Okay.
would just be all over the place, and my cursor was drifting all over. But then I tried the second one. I have a Logitech joystick right here,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and that worked. The throttle didn't work, but like whatever, it's not a big deal to do
Right.
the throttle on the keyboard.
Right.
But I really like all the different cockpits, and
Yeah.
I think the stunt setups are really cool and creative, even though they're imperfect.
The
Like,
stunt setups are cool and creative, but this was one of the other things where I just found myself not caring. It's like, okay, here's this big list of stunts to get through, but why do I want to?
well, because that's the game. Like, it's a sim. Like, it's not a,
Right,
you
but
know,
they could have done something more like one of the things I think is interesting is as you fail stunts, they start taking away from that 32. Like you don't get to do these stunts anymore because you failed. You don't get to do these stunts anymore because you failed. You can earn it back, but they take them away.
I think that's only if you do the competition, which I would never recommend anyone do
Right.
because it caps you off what you can do. It's not fun. Like, you're not really motivated. I would never recommend anyone do the competition mode.
But I feel like if they had done something more like, all right, your first 5 stunts are landing on the Golden Gate Bridge and landing on this thing and doing the barnstorming and like 5 really easy stunts. You do those, you unlock more stunts. You do those, it would create this sort of desire to see what other stunts there are.
Mm-hmm.
Where this, I played through all the stunts and I'm like, some of these are easy, some of these are hard with my setup. Some
Mm-hmm.
of these I don't care. Duluth doesn't look like Duluth. Did you see the Duluth stunt?
No.
You have to fly through the canyon of skyscrapers in Duluth. I'll just leave you for that statement. Just
Yeah.
kind of
Duluth, Georgia.
no,
All right.
no,
Yeah.
because
That's
they got 2
interesting.
bridges and it's.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Here I am in like the stunt, build your own stunt thing, and I'm crashing into the ground, and it's not taking the crash. I'm like, that's interesting.
yeah. This build your own, like, so you can fly the stunts, you can design the stunts, and you can edit. Those are like the three, and you can like dick around on the island,
Yeah.
or you can like just fly around. Um, and like the editing takes a little getting used to, and if you like editing, it's okay because you don't really get to place cameras or anything. You just like make some light artistic choices about
Right.
what it looks like. But if you like editing, it's kind of fun, and I do like editing, so I spent some time like figuring that out, and I like that. But the set design is just like really not that easy to just
Right.
like plop in and bang out a stunt, and you're kind of limited anyway.
Yeah. I wish editing did more.
Sure.
Like, editing never felt. I don't know, it felt tacked on. And I'm like, that's the thing that's making this game sort of stand out from other flight sims is the editing. And to have
Mhm.
it feel tacked on and
Yeah.
like that's too bad. That was a potential to really stretch it out and do something here.
I kind of wish like there was more stuff around your footage for
Mhm.
like context,
Yeah.
but that's a big ask for
Well, and that was the
1992.
other thing I was thinking. Like I was talking about, like there's different levels of stunts. If they were all tied to a movie, like you get hired to do
Hmm.
this World War One barnstorming movie, and you know you're going to get this plane unlocked for you, and you're going to fly a bunch of stunts, and when you complete the movie, you're hired for a new movie.
Hmm.
If anyone wanted to remake this today, like
Yeah.
that's the goal I would take, is something more of a, like, have there be a career path. This doesn't feel
Some
like anything.
continuity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this doesn't feel like a game. It feels like a collection of challenges.
Yeah, I think that is the game. Like it's very much just like,
Right.
unless you want to fuck around with the contest, which again, like
Yeah.
totally tacked on, and
Yeah.
it just limits you.
Right. And like I said, that's why I just found myself, like, I didn't not like any part of it. I just didn't care. There was nothing to hook me and make me want to try harder.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like for me, what makes it compelling is just the desire to like
Yeah.
to complete it on a one-off basis. And like, there's one where you like grab a balloon and take it over a castle, and like the multi-step parts of it are
Mm-hmm.
kind of fun because you have to like figure out how those things are going to flow into each other, and like what
Right.
path you're going to take. And I find that rewarding. Like, if I land later, I can make the turn to the hamburger stand quicker, and
Right.
it'll look cooler. And then,
Mm-hmm.
like things like that I found rewarding to like work through and to get nailed down.
And that's the part that I wish editing or something did more of. Like, if you did things, like, do you remember a game called Uniracers? Probably not.
Vaguely. I think they're like one wheel.
Yeah. And you do
Yeah.
stunts with them. And the
Yeah.
better stunts you do, the more points you get, the faster your guy goes, blah, blah, blah. I wish there was like, a score multiplier, an exciting something that I'm sure at the time they couldn't do.
Hmm.
But today I would love to see, like, you do the barnstorming where you fly through the barn's doors and you just miss the tractors. If you do a barrel roll on the way in, you get extra points. If you
Sure.
come
Yeah.
within so close to the ground, you get extra points. If you fly between the last two, you get extra points. Things you can do to make the stunt more stunty,
Hmm.
and then you're graded at the end of, like, yeah, you did the stunt the way we asked, good job, or
Hmm.
holy crap, no one's done anything like that.
Right.
And just something to get you to try to push yourself. And I never felt like it tried to push me.
Yeah.
I think this is, yeah, see, I flew to the castle.
Yeah. You did the castle instead of Alcatraz. Yeah, I did this exact same thing several times, and like never could find the guy. And then again, like look at it. If you look at it in the stunt coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm sorry, the set design, like the significant things are usually represented as these big balls, big
Yeah.
white domes or spheres.
Mm-hmm.
And so that will give you a hint about where the thing that's Alcatraz that you just flew by
Yeah.
off in the distance. But
Right.
like you're right to think this
Oh, here's this
giant,
big brick building thing.
yeah. And like I had a problem again with that balloon one
Yeah.
where I was trying to uh you have to like fly the balloon over the castle,
Mm-hmm.
and then the balloon releases, and then you circle around and shoot it down. Like that was a really fun mission, but I found out that if you're too low, the balloon doesn't release. And that's incredibly frustrating to me because, like, for one, the super douchey stunt coordinator, who
Right.
is like a mega douche.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, he
Probably
like
based on
doesn't
some
tell
real
you,
person.
no doubt. Yeah. He never tells you like you have to be above 1,200 feet.
Right.
So I just kept like, and your inclination is to do that because you have to shoot it down before it reaches a certain altitude.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me was really frustrating. Like, if you're gonna like impose rules, that's okay, but you have to tell me.
Right. If I know all the rules and I can see everything, then fine. we're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like the bite size missions. There was another stunt game I played when I was a kid. I think it was called Stunt Pilot, maybe, or
Okay.
something. It was a PC
I
game.
thought you were gonna say Stunt Racer.
No, no. Uh, I don't remember what it was, but that one I thought was. I mean, it
Better.
was much later, but it was
Okay.
better than this because they would like teach you how to do the loop perfectly
Yeah.
with like smoke on, and then you could watch your performance and learn like, oh, I didn't feather my whatever at the top, and blah 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 blah. And that was really great. But this was fun in a more arcadey kind of bite size. Like what weird, like the duck thing. Like that's just weird. That's a
Yeah.
weird mission, but it's fun and it's
Mm-hmm.
like it makes you do things.
You got to crash a meteor into the Y of the river. Was one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like there's some really creative stuff, and that's where it shines. But
Yeah.
I again I was disappointed in the aircraft handling a little bit, and
Yeah.
whatever, it was 92, you can't
Right.
expect too much, but
Right. You're not going to get too many different things that are simming correctly when you've got this many different things. And I was just disappointed that they didn't. There was no sense of continuity to it, and that would have been a really easy thing to add and make me feel like I'm progressing as opposed to just
mhm,
doing a thing then doing a thing.
yeah. What'd you think of this doctor guy who like
I love the
tells you
doctor
all the
guy.
things that are wrong with you?
And then tells you to get back out there tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a ruptured spleen and a broken artery, and your shoulder blades are completely dislocated to your knees. You'll be ready to
Yep.
walk in the morning.
Yep. The first time I was like, "Oh, you doctor guy," and by like the eighth time, like trying to pull up out of the dive, I was like, "Fuck this guy! I'm
Yeah.
so sick of this." Yeah,
Yeah.
but I like what they did with the interface, even though it's a little pokey to click around in. It has a distinct feel to it.
I was going to ask you about that. How did you feel about that? Like, click on things to make things.
It's not unlike how they did it in Strike Commander, where you have
Right.
like a base and you're going to all the different places.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It definitely adds to the island kind of flavor, and you like feel like you're in a real place.
Resorty Island thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. Even though I found it sometimes annoying that you have to go to other places to get to places,
Right.
but you know, I like this camera operator with the beard though,
Yeah.
and the hoodie. Like,
Yeah.
come on,
Well, I think that might be
AV
why I
kids.
thought it was Spielberg. Like, just looking at him, I'm like, is that a Spielberg?
Yep, Spielberg's behind the camera on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to like make a stunt for the show, but I did
Yeah.
not want to take the time to like learn it, and I don't think I could really express myself through the stunt interface. Like I couldn't you can't write out like fuck you Chris and smoke or
Right.
whatever, whatever you want to do. It's
Right.
pretty limited, but again, when I was a kid and didn't have a lot of games, like all day long I'd set up
Well, and that was
stunts.
going to be the other thing I was going to say. If this is 1992 and this is one of your like 5 games for the summer,
Hmm.
okay, I get it because there's so much to do in this. You
Right.
can really, there's a lot to mess around with and not get bored.
Hmm.
But if you're coming at it now with, I've got 1,000 games in my Steam library, and I don't know,
Right.
it
It's
didn't hook me somehow. It just didn't.
I thought it was pretty fun just to blast around the island in the different aircraft and like kind of, and that's like really where you're going to make up your own stunts.
Right. And that's where, if in my mind, if I picture this game made today, I can see you going to the hangar and just picking a game and having like Joyride
Hmm.
be an option. And then you take it out, you fly it up, and you just have a flight sim for the day with whatever that particular plane is.
Yeah.
And you bomb around the island and you do some stuff and you come back. And you can maybe even like I want to practice some stunts.
Right.
Like I'm going to take this plane up and practice so that the doctor is off my back and I can
Right.
I can run it as many times as I want and not
Yeah.
have
Well,
time limits or anything else on it.
you can do that in this
Yeah.
with the ship or with all the planes, but like anytime you can't do like shoot down a thing or like
Right.
anything with additional props that you need. So you're kind of limited, but you can like buzz around the bridge and
Yeah,
you know.
it felt like you had to make your own stunts. It didn't feel like there was an easy way to just give me a plane and a runway and I'll talk to you in an hour. There wasn't
Yeah.
just a simple way to just fly around Stunt Island.
Yeah, there is. There you can go to the airfield and take off in any of the planes. It was just it's kind of
Did
buried
I
like
miss it? Well, this is
yeah,
one of the problems with the interface then. It's,
right. It's not obvious, but yeah, you can go to the airfield and take off and
okay, maybe I'll take a peek at that before I hit the
yeah,
uninstall on it.
or don't because again the flight dynamics aren't that
Meh.
great and you see pretty much all of the island just doing the stunts.
Yeah.
So, but it's cool because you can like put a plane in a context that you didn't get to fly it. Like you can,
Right.
land a different plane on the bridge if that's what you want to do.
Here's the following thing I was talking about.
Yeah. And I was
like they're each 5 pixels, and I don't know which one's which.
right. It's the ones in the very front, but it's so hard to see. And also, they did you a huge disservice by making them two different colors because you think, oh, I got to shoot the tan ones and then I
Right.
have to shoot the black ones. A lot of this game is just flying a mission, screwing it up, and then trying to like reverse engineer what you did wrong because
Right.
it just says stuff like too early, general failure.
General
Yeah.
failure is my favorite. Like, could you be a smidge more specific?
Mm-hmm.
Wrong target would have been huge.
Yep.
Uh,
Right. Yeah. And then the idiot downgrades your whatever.
yeah. Like, okay, we're taking some of the stunts away that you weren't doing anyway. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Again, like, do not play the contest. It's way better to just like go in and have access to all the stunts and just like fly them. And like, you don't need to beat some fake stunt pilot. Like, who
Yeah.
cares?
This was where I noticed the control thing. I'm like, oh, this is part of my problem. Is it's like not letting me correct,
Yeah.
and then I do this where I just completely lose them. Like I do
Yep.
a full 360, and I don't see them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, where'd they go?
They're at like 2% throttle or 20% throttle.
Yeah.
And they start you at like, I think
100.
50 or maybe 100.
They start you at
And
100. It's like,
yeah. And then you just like buzz right by them. It's a
Mhm.
little frustrating.
And then I was like, was that them? Did I see them?
Yeah. Yeah, the trick is to get up high and then come down at them so you can see who's in front a little bit
I gotta pull
and then drop your throttle. Yeah, you're all over the place. I even had that problem with the joystick
Did you have that problem
sometimes.
with the
Yeah, because you're like whipping around trying to get back to things that you flew past.
Your sights are also not exactly sighted in,
Yeah, that's very true.
which is a bit of a problem for these gunning.
Yeah. I thought they did a pretty good job ramping up the difficulty. Like the first one is really easy, and then it tends to get more intricate. I think.
I
think
found
my
the
favorite
first
was
one
the-
hard because of the controls.
Oh yeah.
Because I would end up going too high, and they're like, "You went too high." I'm like, okay, but like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you had your gun sighted in, I could have shot him before I even took off, but you didn't.
Right.
So, what am I working with here? I know it's a poor craftsman who blames his tools, but your tools suck.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. The other thing too, like when you edit it, it really helps to have seen the computer edit because then you know more like
yeah.
because if you're not like checking all the cameras all the time, you can miss things like in that first one where you take off and shoot the zero. Uh, there's like a camera that shows the bomb hitting the warehouse,
Yeah.
and if you like don't pop over to that warehouse when the bomb is falling, you'll just like totally miss that, and
Right.
it will not be in your footage. But the people still applaud anyway.
Right. Well, and that's where I was talking about. Like, I wish the editing felt like if you missed some, like the editing was a part of the game too. You missed the bomb, your video doesn't have as many points.
Hmm.
You know, it's a 4-star instead of a 5-star movie, or
Yeah.
a thumb up and a thumb down, or something to help make you feel like, oh, if I go in there and edit, I can really like come up with some cool stuff or tweak it or add something to it.
Yeah.
Because
But
it is one of the more interesting parts of this game. It's the thing that sort of separates it from just any other flight sim, and I don't know, it felt like nothing happened with it. So
Yeah. Like you can make the artistic choice to do like 100 quick cuts and like
yeah,
make it kind of interesting, but you're still pretty limited by what the camera angles you get
mm-hmm.
are. So that can be a bummer. Also, like I'll say if you have a shitty short-term memory, and I definitely do, you really have to deliberately pay close attention to some of the stunt coordinator instructions. You like cannot go into these stunts with a half-ass understanding of what he wants you to do. Like you have
Right.
to know which parking spot to pull your plane into, and like
It would have been nice to just have like a couple post-it notes or a little spiral notebook on the side that had checklists of do
that would
this,
be
then
really
this, then this.
nice.
Just
Yeah.
something during, so that, because yeah, I don't have terrible short-term memory, but I do have like if you're not giving me clear directions, and that guy's not,
Hmm.
then a checklist would have been huge.
Right.
But again, 1992. What are you gonna?
Yeah. Well, a lot like with the stunt coordinator, that's all just text.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could give me
That on a piece of
too
paper.
much information. Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Like
let me
I'll
hit
deal with it.
F8. I don't need a bomb view necessarily. You could
Right.
spotter plane view can go, and you just give me a way to see the directions again.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not sure
Yeah.
why I got a general failure there. I shot down one of the black planes, and it's like fine. I shot down another one, they're like general failure.
It's
I'm like,
because it's the two in the very front. You cannot shoot the two that are leading those two different formations. It's not super clear, but he does say sh- avoid the two in the front. But like this is where context it's would help. Like if they told you about the movie or like what's going on,
well,
I think that would be really helpful.
again, if you felt like you were part of a movie through this game, like okay, I'm doing the Barnstorming movie now, I'm doing the World War II movie.
Hmm.
And I'm not even saying you necessarily have to do them in order, but like something where you do movie, and you like feel like you're starting to tell a story and you're part of something would be really cool.
Yeah.
And this just never did that.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
I still think it's pretty fun.
yeah, it's a
Like
game.
it's it's odd because this is a game that you can drop into and play knowing next to nothing, and the controls are pretty intuitive. It's not like one of those jet games where there's 800 hotkeys and you
Right.
need to lay out or a thing that goes over your keyboard to know what to hit. Like you can just pop in this game and play these missions. But if you want to spend a ton of time with it, like you can really get into it. Like if you find out that yeah, this is actually my jam, like I really like this, then you could like learn it
Really
and
go to
get
town,
really
yeah.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to do if you care.
Right. And
That's
you did not care.
I did not care.
And I cared enough to edit, but not enough to design my own stunt.
I like that the game doesn't punish you for how much you care. Like you're
Mhm.
not out anything if you don't care all the way through.
Right. Right. It asks you, do you want to do your own editing? Do you want to be in the stupid competition? Like no.
I think what's hilarious is you explaining this to me. It's like, oh, that makes perfect sense. See, when I heard like the two in front, I presumed it meant one set of colors was running away from another set of colors.
Right.
But that's not what it means. It means each wing has two guys.
Right at the head of the formation. Yeah. Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out, and especially because when you're coming directly behind them, they just look like a soup of pixels, and you don't even necessarily know how many planes you're even dealing with.
Right.
But
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
But yeah, if you're someone who likes early 90s flight sims like this and Red Baron.
Yeah, this does more than just like a Microsoft Flight Simulator. Like, it gives you things to do.
Yeah,
so
you can do Immelmans and whatever, and scratch that itch, do a barrel roll. You can hate on the stunt coordinator. That was like, I hated that guy like it was my job, and I'm good at my job.
I can see that. I didn't like that guy either. Just like,
I'll say it took the edge off when I stopped accepting the default name of Ace, because I find that really condescending when he's like, "How's it going, Ace?" But when he's like, "How's it going, Parkins?" it like feels a little better.
I can see that.
Like, don't call me Ace. Like, oh, that's my nickname. That's why.
Yeah. No, Ace is that thing, some like condescending.
Yeah, like Chief.
Yeah.
Big fella.
All right. Anything else you want to say about this then?
No, I think that is pretty much it.
Okay. We didn't get to this last month because of situations. So Scorched Earth, 2 weeks. This time we mean it. Scorched Earth is happening.
We're really doing it.
Really doing it this time.
Thank you for your patience, everyone, too. Like, we're not dropping off the face of the earth. It was just vacation time.
Now, I know you recommended this one, and I wasn't that into it. You've also recommended the next one.
Oh, wow. It's
Matt year.
It's
the year of Matt. Because you also recommended the Halloween one.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So.
Yeah. Yes! This is my greatest decision to date.
Years old.
Yes.
That messes with me.
So good. Like, we're not going to have anything to talk about because everyone knows everything about Half-Life.
Right.
But, whatever. Fuck you. We want to play it. It's fun.
Sometimes that is why we pick a game. We're like, I'd like to play Half-Life again. Let's put it in the rotation.
Yeah, it's old. We're old.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is 20 years old.
That's crazy.
Remarkable. Yeah. Someone burning a shitty outside?
I was going to say, what is that about?
Did you move into the drag race?
I guess I did.
Racetrack?
It's the Fast and Furious over here.
Good. Wow, yeah. Good job, Matt.
Good job, Matt. I mean, you picked Stunt Island, but you also picked Half-Life, so...
Yeah. Wait till we get the heads.
we get the heads.
It's going to happen someday.
It will happen. It's on the list. I look at it every so often, and I start to drag it over, and then I just put it right back.
You're like, nope, can't do it.
No,
they didn't even spell heads right.
Right. Put it with a Z. Typical 90s.
H-E-D-Z.
H-E-D-Z.
No reason.
All right. We'll forgive them, because it was 90s. They had Tude. 90s Tude.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Anything else? Anything else you want to say before I shut this down?
No, I think that covers everything.
All right. Well, then, bye, everyone. Talk to you
bye.
Very soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Big thank you to all of you watching, sharing, liking, subscribing, suggesting games, commenting on our videos, or supporting us on Patreon. We appreciate all of your support and look forward to sharing many more videos with you. Thank you again.